Hey stunning people, my name is Beane and welcome to the Salt Lake Sessions. We have a full house today in the studio with a band that wants to be your friend. This is Sammy Rae and the Friends.
So it's written and so it said, pink moon is on its way. None of you staying so tall. Pink moon gonna get you all. It's a pink moon, yes, a pink moon. Pink, 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 pink. Pink moon, yes, pink moon. Pink, 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 pink moon. So it's written and so it said, pink moon is on its way. None of you stand so tall. Pink moon gonna get you all. It's a pink moon, yes, a pink moon. Pink, 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 pink. Pink moon, yes, pink moon. Pink, 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 pink moon.
Hi Sammy,
Hi, Beane.
you brought your friends?
I did. We're all here.
All the friends are here. Can I get everyone's name? Is that cool?
Yes,
Can we go
totally.
around?
Why don't you maybe go this way?
I like that way.
I am Kellon.
Hey, I'm Max.
I'm Seabass.
I'm Sammy.
JQ.
Will.
I'm Debbie.
And I'm Beane, the honorary friend today.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited! Yay! Oh my god! The love. Oh my god, I'm never gonna leave. Are you
You've got
kidding
that
me?
Friends energy,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
I'm here for the friend
That's that
energy.
friend.
It could just be the jersey. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you all had some time to come and make some music for us,
Yeah.
with us, and do this whole thing. The vibe is amazing. I was fortunate enough to catch the Roadrunner show in Boston.
No way.
Instant fan.
Good one. That's a good
Instantaneous
one.
fan.
That's a good
It was
one.
just, it was wild. Like, it just got better and better and better, and the bubbles came, and it was the end.
We talked about the bubble guy for a minute.
The bubble guy.
The bubble
guy.
Oh, it's amazing. I want to know about the inception of Sammy Rae and the Friends. I imagine that it started as Sammy Rae.
Yeah, totally. So I grew up in Connecticut and then moved to New York, and I knew I wanted to form a band. I knew I wanted to form a big band with a lot of like very uniquely, individually talented people who are all the time players. So folks who wanted to like stick around and not just like session players. Folks who wanted to build something, you know? And we all just, the short answer is we all met on the New York City music scene, and pretty much all of us live in Brooklyn or Astoria now. So we're all here, but we're from all over the US, all over the world, actually. And in the beginning, I met JQ really early, and we met on like a straight ahead jazz gig. And then I met Seabass through doing kids music. And I met Will in like the singer-songwriter circle and some kids music stuff. And then we met Debbie through the like covers and bar music circuit, and then Kellon and Max are a little bit of everything, and they showed up by way of meeting them through JQ. So it took maybe like a year and a half, and it just, as soon as we all started playing together, we just sort of totally congealed, and we're like, this is the group, and we're quite a big group, but that was always the idea, and yeah. Takes a lot of seats in a very large vehicle to get us on tour. And it's been great.
The minibus.
Yeah.
It's all
Right.
set.
Oh yeah.
Did you
I mean,
have
good
this size band and like this composition in your head before?
No, not necessarily, and there have been a few personnel changes over the years, but this is the iteration of the project who's done the most touring, really been all over the place, been around for the longest. I knew I wanted a tight rhythm section. I knew I wanted a kill and keys player, and I knew I wanted horns. And there was a time period where we had a saxophone and a trumpet, and I was like, wait, no, I'm so obsessed with the saxophone. We need to have 2 saxophones. And then Max started playing synthesizer. So I knew roughly that this was the size of band that we were going to end up being, and I pretty much just knew that like tenor saxophone and alto saxophone were going to be an important part, and keys were going to be an important part, and then everybody kind of just like filled in from there.
I love that.
Yeah.
Very inspiring.
Oh,
Very
thanks.
inspiring. Yeah.
Beane?
Well,
Beane
it's a
is
little
so
collective.
nice.
A little collective.
Yeah.
I want to know about the evolution from the Great Scott gig
Oh Lord.
to the Roadrunner gig.
Yeah, I mean, we, well, I mean, that show specifically, that was like our first tour.
Oh, like out of town.
That's like our
yeah.
first
Yeah.
out-of-town
Let's
date.
drive out of Brooklyn and see
right?
what happens.
And
Yeah, really.
it was like I mean, I don't even remember if we had everybody at that show. Like, that was when we were still like, well, maybe we can't do 7 or 8. Maybe we could do 5 on the road.
Yeah.
And it was like definitely, it was a feat to get everybody to Boston. And we just knew
Yeah.
that if we got to Boston, they would come. You know, if you build it, they will come kind of thing. And I just remember specifically that show was the loudest room that I've ever been in.
Oh, yeah.
Ever.
At Great Scott?
Oh, yeah.
Ever.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just, and people were stomping and clapping and cheering the whole night. It was nonstop. And that was definitely, we were like, hey, you know, Boston could be something going on over here. You know,
Yeah.
and so, you know, between that, I mean, the evolution specifically, you know, after a Great Scott, that was what, that was early 2019, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It was fall 2019? Yeah, and then we were back very quickly after that at the Sinclair. That was like the last gig that we had before
Pretty much
COVID.
before the COVID shut everything
That
down.
was like February 1st, like,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
or whatever, like 2020. That was an amazing show, and each of these shows, as with, I feel the same way with our New York shows, that they all feel like the biggest show that we've ever done ever.
Yeah.
And that one in particular was like, wow, you know, we got, you know, we basically doubled our audience within like 3 months, I think,
Yeah.
4 months, then, you know.
Something I think is cool about Great Scott was that was one of the first shows, from my memory personally, where it wasn't just like, oh, we're like a cool thing happening in Brooklyn. Like, we could leave and go to another metropolis where we had never been before, and we could put people in that room and get a feel for, okay, this is what Boston's like. And then it was, well, let me go see what Philly's like. So it's cool to be in a city where we get to come back a couple times and kind of watch that growth in a really tangible, like, data way. But that show in particular, it was like, oh my God, we're not just a cool thing in Brooklyn. Like, we can leave and people will come, and let's just take this thing to the moon then. Let's see where we can go. And then very shortly thereafter, I think we like overstepped, and we were like, let's go do a tour in Brazil. And then we went to Brazil for 2 weeks.
That was another.
It was a whole Boston to Brazil. But
Genius.
yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
Play
I
Beane.
have to say, our last show that we played in Boston was my personal favorite show that I've ever played in my entire life.
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roadrunner?
Yeah, Roadrunner.
Oh yeah. It was a good one. It was also the biggest.
Well,
it was
you
the
two
most tickets
got
we'd ever sold in
incredible
one night.
cardio down that night.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what? And then, like,
Yeah.
geez, the steps have been reached.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
surpassed.
Not only did I get to play like an entire friend set, but I also got to conduct a string quartet.
Oh, that was
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was
like
really cool.
Pretty great.
That was really
Not
cool.
every day.
Everything
Right.
is
Special
like a
one.
No,
quartet
that
stage.
room in particular is so good for us. I feel like it was the biggest room we've ever played.
It was the most
but
tickets we've ever
it
sold in
was
one venue, yeah.
it felt so intimate. I don't know if everybody
Yeah.
else in the band felt that way,
Yeah.
but like you know, you could look out into the wings and you could look out into the balcony and across the floor, and it felt really intimate, you know, which was very nice.
Well, it's interesting, like some venues, like when they get bigger, you can't make eye contact with the fans anymore. There's like something weird with the lights or like the poles or like whatever, but like that like Roadrunner is special because you can see like every eye.
I feel like one of the things that I loved when I got to see you all live was there are very intentional moments for everybody in the band to shine. But it doesn't feel over-engineered, over-produced at all.
Good.
You know?
Awesome.
It's very... Because sometimes you go to see a show and it's like guitar solo here. And like this here. And it's like, okay, like you're getting the check boxes right. But it all just kind of evolves so organically. When you do the shows, are you using tracks at all?
No.
So you're...
No, nothing.
Is there impromptu stuff happening? Are we doing longer endings? Are we...
You could say that.
Mostly the bit. Yeah.
The bit? I love the bit.
Who comes over to who at what moment, and who are we delivering this line to, and
Yeah.
little bits like that. I mean, it's a handful of things. Like by the time we got to the show, you saw at Roadrunner, it's like we'd been out for weeks at that point, and we're so tight as a band now in terms of like the songs, right? And it's really exciting once you get to this threshold as a band of we've played it so many times, we're so tight on it, we've got this music like in our blood that you can really start to open up and stretch out a little bit and see what else comes naturally. And you know, chances are somebody will play something and like in the song, and I'll whip around and be like that, and then even if I forget, like he'll do it tomorrow,
Right.
And then he'll do it the next night, and then you'll try something different, and it just kind of builds off of itself. So, some of it's impromptu, but I knew from the very beginning that, and we talked about this earlier, but I wanted a band where everybody was like really uniquely talented and didn't really sound anything like each other. And it kind of gets us in trouble sometimes because people are like, I have no idea how to describe this band, but you know it when you hear it. And we have an issue with that sometimes too. But what I think is cool is, I mean, we know it when we're in the studio and we'll just be like, oh, try this, now cowbell here. And we'll just be like, that's that Friends. So you know it when you hear it, but I think it's really special that we have figured out how to somehow cohesively take all of our different influences and studies of music that we come from and put it into something that makes sense as a group, and it only feels right when you've got a group of so many people who come from such different worlds of music to let everybody shine, you know, and I guess it's a bit of a variety show in that way. And the hope is like there's, you know, something for everybody.
Totally.
The project would be less served if it was just like, let's plow through and be just a band that's together the whole time. I think it's a huge part of our project and our sound that everybody gets a minute to like refresh the listener's ear with what they're like particularly really skilled at.
That's so
and
interesting.
it also comes through also I think in the way that we arrange music for the studio too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's pretty much the same dynamic because we all contribute a lot arrangement wise.
Totally.
And there's a lot of different ideas flying through here, and so you know, I think a lot of that musical sense that you get during the show is it comes from the arrangements also being this patchwork of all of our influences as well.
Yeah.
You know,
It's an
so
enormously
it's at the bones sonically
Yeah.
of what we're doing.
It's
you
a-
know,
it's an enormously-
diversity of musical backgrounds.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I feel like that uniqueness is also where the risk lies.
Yeah.
But I feel like you've
yeah.
been able to like harness that. I mean, I feel like
It's no fun without the risk.
100%. Yeah, totally.
Oh my god.
That's nice.
Yeah. I mean, and also you don't want to be somebody that does something that everybody's heard already.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. That collaborative spirit is so refreshing.
Yeah.
It's so refreshing. Oh my god. In an industry that can be so individually focused,
Yeah.
stuff like this is more and more rare.
It's
Yeah.
hard.
If
You
I
gotta
could
check
say-
your ego.
Always.
You gotta
Yeah.
check it.
Yeah.
If I could say too, it's like it's a lot of credit to Sam's vision too, because it's
Yes.
you know, a lot of band leaders would not. That's not part of the product. That's not part of the presentation. And it's Sam's vision that we all have a moment, you know, and it's something that I think we not deliberately have worked out, but it's always something where it's like, no, we should have a solo moment here for like everybody's gonna solo on this song, or like I'm gonna come over here and have a bit with this and have a highlight of that. I mean, in the live performance in particular, a lot of our bits are bits that have just gone wild and developed into a thing, you know, and like.
There's an element of theater to the show. As
There's a
well.
lot
There
of
totally
that's
is,
something I was gonna
totally,
get
yeah.
to is like,
Yeah.
you know, the choreography, like all this stuff. People are always asking like, did you plan this out? Did you plan this out? No. Most of like 90% of it, no. It just has been like, you know, things that work well every night
Yeah.
and we have fun doing. you know.
That's exactly what it is. Somebody will do it one night. I'm thinking about the little hops and didn't feel it on the first day. And like everybody jumps. And somebody did it one night, and then I caught on to. I think it might have been you. It's, okay,
Definitely
so
Kellon.
much
It was
physical blocking
definitely-
stuff happens with me and Kellon just doing something dumb and then committing to it.
Yeah.
And then the next day, like, I did it with Kellon, and then at some point, maybe the third night, I look over and JQ has now caught on, and he's going bing, 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 and the next thing you know, everybody all night is a whole band is hopping across the stage. It's just kind of stuff that comes that way. Our audience has come to know that, like, when they come to a new show, no matter how long ago the other one was, it's going to be a completely different experience. That's for them, so they can get a fuller breadth of, like, knowledge of who we are as musicians, but it's also for us.
Totally.
Because when you talk about the vision, something that I've always envisioned from the very beginning was, number one, I'm in the middle. I'm in the geographical middle, but I never wanted to be, like, the center of attention. Like, I wanted to be the lead singer, but more than anything, I consider myself even a band leader before I consider myself a front singer. And it's a whole different set of skills to be able to be like, now sonically we want to hear you, and physically we want to see you, and kind of conduct everybody like that. But, a huge part of this vision is, I always envisioned something with longevity, like sustainability. It was never like, let's do this and see what happens, and then like maybe one day like we'll play a big venue and then we'll quit. It was always, this is something that's going to grow and evolve over decades. We want to be like legacy artists, you know?
Sammy Rae and the Geriatrics.
Yeah. When you look at these like legacy bands who, you know, were
to
at the
the
top of their
Villages.
game.
Oh my god.
All that like 30, 40 years ago, let's just do it. And the only way to build something that is sustainable and has longevity is to constantly have it be evolving and leave space for change and, you know, space to respond to the world around us. You know, what sort of stories, what sort of messages do we need to tell right now as it pertains to us and our needs, the needs of our audience, and also what's going on in the world, you know?
It's brilliant. It's like the collaborative spirit that you all have as a band, you also extend to your audience, which is brilliant. And it's why it's
Yeah, there's
Sammy
a
Rae
lot
and
of
the
audience
Friends.
engagement. There's a lot of saying. Yeah. That's always been the thing.
Yeah.
We've always thought
I
about
love
it like
it.
that. It is kind of a collective mentality where everybody who comes to support us is part of the Friends. We're just always trying to find new ways to say thank you, because all of us have spent time, real time, being like hobby musicians or musicians who are working really hard trying to get to a place where they could do this thing full time, but they have to have a day job. And we count ourselves extremely lucky to be able to live this dream and like do it full time, but it's nothing without the audience. Like if they don't show up, they don't buy tickets, if they don't stream, if they don't like buy merch, then we're just like doing this thing and it's lame.
Right.
It's so much about, and we felt this a lot during when we were locked down for COVID and we couldn't tour safely. There was no exchange of energy, which is something that we really miss. So it's like if we go post something on the internet and then somebody comments, like that's nice, or we're live streaming and people are literally sending clap emojis. There's no exchange there, right? It's always about how we can say thank you to those folks and you know make them aware that it's because of them. You know,
My heart.
We
It's all
are
too
because they
wholesome.
are.
Let me just say like a stupid joke. It's like too wholesome for me. It's like hurting my heart. Last question. I know.
Okay.
I know you do, and that's why it's really special. I know that you all mean it. It's just all genuine and authentic, and it's great. Except maybe Seabass. I don't know about it. Last question.
Yeah.
Little Sammy Rae, who
Yeah.
is just discovering Ella Fitzgerald,
Just a
running
baby.
around, being crazy.
Yeah.
What would she think of you now?
I think she'd be really proud because I was so, as a kid, I always kind of felt like an odd duck and had a hard time fitting in and making friends. And I just kind of hit this thing at some point in my like early teens or sorry, my late teens where I was just like, I'm going to stop wasting energy trying to be what everybody wants me to be. And I'm just going to be my fullest, weirdest, most authentic self. And eventually folks will come around. And as I was young, I was always, well, you know, I'll find people who are creatives like me. I'll find people who are musicians. I'll find people who, you know, want to do the same things I want to do. But it got really hopeless there sometimes, and you know, you feel bad about it. And as I got older, and this sort of family started to take shape, and it's not just these people, it's the folks, you know, around us, the outer friends, if you will. I think little me would be really proud of me for this thing that we've all cultivated, but really excited about me because I got everything I ever wanted. You know, I got to make great music, but I finally got a whole bunch of pals. I got so many pals. I got 3,500 pals in every city.
Right,
you know?
right, totally.
I'm lucky.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's just amazing. I'm so glad that you all had time to come in here today. I'm just gonna be smiling all weekend.
Yeah.
I'm just so stoked. I'm gonna be waiting for the next show. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm just so stoked about it all. So Sammy Rae and the Friends, all my love.
Beane.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm about to tell a story that I haven't yet, about the most intelligent woman that I ever met. She looked like Jackie Onassis, top of her classes. I'm doing my best, just passing by. I'm so funny in my body, I can barely walk. I'm so full of them funny feelings, I could barely talk. And here comes Jackie Onassis. I don't need to ask it. Have you ever seen a woman so fine? She said, come on out, just a couple hours. We gonna have a real good time. And I tell her, where y'all going, where y'all going, where y'all coming home? Somebody in a front seat calls out, everyone quit wasting our time. Gotta hit the road and hit the road, hit the road that they going, that they going. I was on. I never spoke my mind up in a crowded place. I ain't got no cool demeanor and smooth talking ways, cause I ain't like Jackie Onassis. Girls in sunglasses, then looking me up like I'm bought or some game. And then the altercation happened round the 10th of May. Some poorly dressed spectator had something unkind to say. It comes back to me in places. I get risky, there's a swing and a miss, and I'm all ashamed. Oh, I was so ashamed. When she found me, I was in pieces, crying hard into my hat. She tell me, Mama, you look lovely when you take a stand. And I tell her, no one's ever been so kind to me, and I thank you for that. She said, here you go, and there you go, here you go. Took her hair out of gold, laid that ribbon in my hair. Here we go, look at that lady. Oh, she carries herself right, singing, oh, 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 oh. She's the first lady, oh, to walk me through the night, singing, oh, 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 I got sunny days on a track field. I'm laughing hard, just me and mine. Done a great part in a spring play after all. Yes, I did, with my rose pink tinted glasses, and they fit me just fine. I let it go and let it go, let it go. Ba-ba-do, ba-ba-do, ba-da-da-da-ba-da-da-da. Here we go, look at that lady. Oh, she carries herself right, singing, oh, 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 oh. She's the first lady, oh, to walk me through the night, singing, oh, oh, yeah. Look at that lady, oh, she carries herself right, singing, whoa, whoa, whoa. And she's the first lady, oh, she walked me through the night, singing, oh, oh, oh. And look at that lady, little Miss Thing, carries herself right, singing, whoa, whoa, whoa. And she's the first lady to hold my hand and understand and walk me singing, whoa, whoa, and she's the first one to walk me through the night like whoa, whoa, whoa.
Hey stunning people, it's Beane. Make sure to check out the Salt Lick Sessions YouTube channel and subscribe.